Cocklebarrow Farm, the premier vintage model aeroplane event in England. All models from the earliest to about 1964 are covered. Originally, these creations would have been free flight, but what we see here are fitted with 3-channel radio control. That is, for the rudder for your direction, elevator for up and down, and another control to control the little motor to either shut it off or slow its revs. This enables them to be kept in a chosen area of the sky and brought back to the launch area. Note, I said launch area, that's because many of these oldies are hand launched in the old style. The remote control also helps to conserve tired elderly legs. If allowed to free flight, as originally designed, the larger models would land many fields away, or possibly get treed en route. Then climbing skills would be required. Not recommended for gentlemen in their 8th decade or more. Ladies seem to have more sense by not getting involved in this activity. The site of this gathering is situated on the outskirts of the delightful picturesque Cotswold village of Oldsworth, with its unusual church spire. Built from local stone, these villages give the area its unique place in the pleasant, rolling landscape, which is so pleasing to the eye. The field in which the event is held is enclosed by a traditional stone wall. All of the vintage models we see here today have been built from one of the commercially available plans or from one of the many kits that are on the market. This beautifully built model is a Vic-made Popsy, tissue covered, doped, and then it's been treated with fuel proofer to give a very eye-catching finish. Not often seen at vintage meetings, a model based on a full-sized aeroplane. The Miles Kestrel, almost certainly scaled up from drawings from the old Aeromodeler Plan Service. An unusual design, the Cresta, and a smaller version of the Bulldozer. An unexpected treat for us during the day was a visit from the Vulcan. Now, after that excitement, we will go back to the balsa cement years and this Phoenix in a clear blue sky. The ARTF phenomena has not yet, here in the UK, reached the vintage movement in any numbers, but laser cut bits are making inroads into the market. These chaps are the true sticks and tissue brigade, building traditionally and in many instances covering in tissue of the correct grade, water shrinking it and then doping it to get that taut look, of which many are so justly proud. An unusual and big model, the Spook. Cocklebarrow is not run as a competitive event. It is a very laid-back do, just as the events of 50 to 60 years ago were, which is rare in this day and age we live in. Another event which runs very similar is the National Bodies Do, the British Model Flying Association's Free Flight Nationals, held at Barkston Heath once a year on the spring bank holiday, giving 3 days of competitive flying. Cocklebarrow is held on 3 separate dates in June, August and October, again giving 3 days flying. This is a big, impressive model, the Leprechaun. Originally designed as a glider, this one has been fitted with a power pod to save tow launching it. It was made in 3 sizes during the 1940s. This is the big one. The original model bettered 24 minutes for its maiden flight. Most vintage models, like this 1937 design, feature open structure building, but this Ranger, if you look at the fuselage, has been planked. Originally it would have been a high performance piling machine. The next model is a Mademoiselle, again a Vic Smead design, and a Blue Buccaneer of the mid-1930s era, finished in a version of the American military colours of that time. Everybody's favourite, the Junior 60, gleaming in this bright sunshine. The heart of all these events, the flight line and the control tent, where the frequencies are sorted, the transmitters are stored, the flying slots are allocated, and the day kept running smoothly. One event at Cocklebarrow is competitive. It is the Tomboy competition. They have 90 seconds to load a fixed amount of fuel, then 15 seconds pre-takeoff, and then they're launched. The idea is to fly as high and as long as possible. 30 minutes isn't unusual for these little models. The idea of this Tomboy competition was devised by David Boddington for the standard Vic Smead Tomboy. The event has now become known as the Tomboy's Threes competition, from the 3 cc of fuel that they are allowed for the little diesel Mills engines. The second competition is for the Tomboy Seniors, an enlarged version, and for the model pilot who flew the longest and managed to land back in the field, a certificate of achievement and a bottle of wine. With 60 to 80 transmitters in the control tent and 100 plus models on the field, it is a healthy indicator to the popularity of the vintage movement. Selling from the back of the car is allowed at this event, and it's always exciting. Everybody has a quick dash around for a look, because you never know what's going to turn up. Decoration on vintage models, you have a free choice, and wing art proves very popular. Quite conservative is how I would describe what these old gentlemen paint on. A spearhead, a nice bright little model, a cross between a cabin and a pylon type. The Miss America, and a Bowden mouse, very unusual machine. Events like Cocklebarrow usually appear on video. In this instance, these photographs were taken for reference purposes, where they would unlikely ever be seen. They are now several years old, and I thought it would be nice to share them and maybe provoke a little nostalgia.